Hey everyone, it's Cory. I thought I would just bring you a quick little video giving you all my sort of first impressions of the Star Wars Battlefront Beta that happened over the past weekend. And I have to say that my initial experience was actually kind of meh. I wasn't necessarily looking for some big Star Wars game. In fact, my expectations for the game were actually pretty low. I didn't think it was going to be uh, even as good as I thought it was now, and I thought it was just kind of okay. In the beta, there were two modes. There was Drop Zone, which had you focus on one objective at a time, picking up drop ships, and preventing the enemy team from picking them up as well. That game mode felt kinda basic. It felt actually just like a step above Team Deathmatch. Because a lot of people just played it like that anyway, not really worrying about the pods, even though you needed the pods to win. But I have a feeling that that could probably solve itself on launch when people are playing more than that game mode. The other map and game mode was the Hoth map. I think it's called the AT Battle or something like that. Now, this is a game mode that it seems like a lot of people are complaining about. And I have a lot of problems with it too. The map, as I'm sure anyone who's used the internet or has even kind of heard about the Star Wars Beta knows that this game mode heavily favors the Imperials. In my entire weekend of playing it, I may have won as the Rebels a handful of times, whereas the Imperials win just about 99% of the time. The problem is that they have access to way more vehicles than the Rebel side. The Rebels have to hold specific points to even have access to their vehicles, and their vehicles are absolutely necessary to take down the AT-ATs. You won't be doing much damage on ground unless you get the speeder, but I've also yet to see the speeder. I'm not exactly sure how that works, or how it spawns, or maybe if I just can't find the spawn, or if people just don't know how to use it yet and it's dying quickly. But the speeder's supposed to be used on ground to sort of grapple around the walker to take it down, but I haven't seen a whole lot of that. And this balance issue has me worried for the game, because while in the beta, they're only showing us these two game modes. And while the first game mode is fine, it feels, balanced enough, other than, people are obviously going to find, the best guns and all that kind of stuff. But it's, it's serviceable. But the Hoth map has me worried about these kind of game modes, if they're going to be heavily favored towards one side just because they're trying to recreate a sort of scene from a movie or something like that. But again, it is just the beta. Things can still change, and we did only get those two game modes. They still have other game modes, they'll have other maps. So, who knows, in the full release, it could be totally different, and maybe that's just one outlier of a map that has problems. It's not necessarily another problem, but another thing that is in the Hoth map is the flying, where the Rebels will fly either an A-Wing or an X-Wing to shoot down the enemy TIE fighters and the AT-ATs and their AT-STs. Now, the flying isn't bad, but it's nothing too inspired either. It's pretty serviceable. It does what it needs to do. It doesn't overly complicate things. In fact, it's pretty simple. Like, I think each ship only has two abilities. Like, the TIE Fighter has a speed up and a missile, where the X-Wing has a shield and a missile. But the flying, while not necessarily bad, I think, is okay at best. It does actually just kind of make me want another Star Wars flying game. Just take out all the ground combat and let me shoot down ships. But overall, the gameplay really is pretty much what you would expect at this point from an EA game. It feels very much like Battlefield with lasers. You die pretty quick. I mean, I guess the big difference is because the guns are lasers, there's really not a whole lot of bullet drop, for lack of a better word. If there is any bullet drop at all, I think you may have to lead targets a little bit, but I don't think there is much bullet drop. One of the other modes is a co-op mode where you fight waves of enemies. This mode is pretty standard, just waves of enemies come at you, you fight the enemies. In the beta you can only get to like, I think like the 5th round out of like 10 or 15 that will be available in the full game, so it's hard to say how fun that'll be exactly. I'm sure it'll be fine, really. It's a horde mode. I don't know how popular the multiplayer will be exactly, but I'm sure there will be a player base for it, or get a couple of friends for it to knock them down real quick. But I think overall, just to wrap up this little video, yeah, I pretty much stick with what I said at the beginning of the video, and that the game was pretty meh, honestly. It didn't blow me away, but it didn't, it wasn't a bad game. It was just pretty serviceable. It just felt like another FPS, honestly. I mean, you have the Star Wars visuals, there's lasers, and all that. You get to see Luke and Darth Vader, and you get to fly some spaceships, even though you're not in space. But yeah, overall, the game is okay. But I think I probably will still end up getting it, even if I do just think it's okay. Because, hey, it's a Star Wars game, and it really is kind of okay. I see it more being sort of like a casual game I'll go into every once in a while, if friends are playing or something, if I just kind of want to turn off my brain and play an FPS and shoot things. I don't see it being a game I really, like, sink in, hours upon hours upon hours, playing and leveling up in the progression system or anything like that. It does feel like something that I just kind of dip into every once in a while, unless the game comes out and the other game modes really blow me away. But as it stands, those are my opinions. It seems like that's pretty much what a lot of people have been saying. They either really like it, or they think it's just kind of alright. It's serviceable. It does what it does. Doesn't really do anything too terrible, other than the balance issues, but doesn't do anything too outstanding either. But anyway, let me know what any of you thought, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.